Okay, I'm going to make your e-commerce brand rich in this video, and no, this is not hyperbole. With Zuckerberg stealing your wallets on Facebook ads, the only thing that we can do to retain profit is with your email list, and I've generated $40 million to help over 50 e-commerce brands scale profitably. I'm going to be breaking down an actual real multi-seven-figure brand going through Klaviyo with you, so you can see the exact thought process and strategies I've used to generate $40 million and help my clients scale to 8 figures. So I don't want to waste any of your time. I know you have a fried attention span from TikTok, Instagram, so I'm going to get straight into it. Okay, so right here, I'm inside of Klaviyo, which is an email sending platform. It's the main one. It's the only option if you actually want to scale, use Klaviyo. But I have it right here, and we can see some of the stats. I have this Klaviyo audit doc right here with some general stuff. So we're going to be looking at broad email performance, going to be looking at the pop-up form, deliverability, campaigns, flows review, copy and design, and then overall recommendations for improvement, and then estimated improvements, okay? So this is everything that we're going to be breaking down. I'm going to do this as fast as I can with as much value as I can. If you want me to do this for your 7 or 8 figure e-commerce brand, just go to my website, wellcopy.net, schedule a free consultation, and I'll do this for you. Just like this brand here, which I'm doing it for free, but let's get straight into it. So we want to look at major KPIs right off the bat. So looking at the revenue, 35% is attributed to Klaviyo, and that's kind of like the main thing that sticks out. So ideally, what we want to be at is over 40%. 35% is pretty solid, but especially with how this brand is running, I know a lot of their stuff is running through ads. If you're running a typical ad funnel, we want to be at above 40%. If I came in here, 50% of revenue was coming from email, then I wouldn't be too concerned. But right now, we're at 35%, so showing some underperformance. So going over here, I'm just going to write that down so I can refer back to it. Okay, so that's perfect. And then looking at the next major KPI is we have campaign revenue and then we have flow revenue. So campaigns are sitting at roughly 80% of the total email revenue, and 22% is coming from flows. Now this is very lopsided. We want it to be around 50-50 or 60-40, 40-60, somewhere around there. So this is telling me they're over relying on campaigns. So this means that their flows probably have a lot of room for improvement. Okay, so I've just put in these major KPIs just into the doc here so that we can refer back to these. This is kind of like the main stuff that we want to look at. Okay, and next, probably the biggest lever in all of e-commerce. It sounds stupid, but pop-up forms literally are that big of a difference. So we're going to break it down, and I'm probably going to show you some numbers. So let's look at their pop-up form right over here. We're just going to go to sign-up forms, and let's see what they're running. And they are not running a single pop-up form. Wow. So right now they're just relying on people who purchase from their website to get their email address. Now, I'm sure this is significantly stunting the growth of their email list, and we'll check that out in a second, but that's not a lot of people. Of the people who view your site, probably only 2 to 5% are actually purchasing. So you're not getting a lot of people joining your email list. And today, when there are so many different e-com brands and the customer can go anywhere, we really want to get their email to send them messaging so that they start to trust us and we start to build up loyalty to where they buy from us rather than a competitor. So that is a major note and a major knock. So there's no pop-up form. And let's see, if I had to guess, probably their welcome flow is not performing well because not many people are entering them. Yeah, welcome flow right here, last 30 days, only about $5,000, which is essentially near nothing if you're generating $134,000 from your email channel. This right here would genuinely probably get them to 45% of revenue, implementing a high converting pop-up form. Looking into their welcome flow, we can see how many people have actually entered, and based on like their site size, they're getting 760 people to enter. We're probably, based on their site traffic of being like around 50,000, this could easily be 3,000 to 5,000 people entering this. So what we want to do is we want to install a pop-up form ASAP and get it to convert 10% of site traffic to email subscribers. So if they bring in 50,000 new website viewers every month, 10% of that would equal 5,000 people entering the welcome flow. And growing your list 5,000 people every single month, which is kind of ridiculous. If we look at the amount of people who are opening their campaigns, let's look at it here. So about 50,000 people. If we added 5,000 people every month, then 5 times 12, that's another 60,000 people over the course of a year. So big opportunity there by getting the pop-ups. Some people say that pop-ups, oh, they hurt our site conversion, yada, 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 but it actually doesn't if you look at the customer data in terms of when they're purchasing. For people who are just coming to the site right off the bat, they need more than just visiting your website once to purchase. So they leave your website and then you have to pay a ton on ads, rather than if you get their email with a pop-up form and then you're able to re-engage them and sell to them on your email list, you're able to actually lower your cost per acquisition. And then also you have their email and you're able to increase LTV. And also, so I added that in here. If we take a look at the welcome flow and what it is converting at, let's look here. So we have 2 emails, and this first one is converting 12% of people, and then they're adding like another little bit here. Let's say 12% of people purchase off this welcome flow. We can say a 10% placed order rate, roughly. We could even be conservative. Let's say it converted just way under what it should be, and we have a 5% placed order rate, and you multiply that times 5,000 people, how many purchases does that give you? That gives you 250 purchases automated. Multiply the 250 purchases automated by AOV, and that's your potential welcome flow revenue just off that pop-up form to welcome flow. The average order value is $50. That would be $12,500 extra cash coming in every single month with the welcome flow, and that's roughly an extra like $7.5K, so that would bring them quite a bit up. And that's not to mention the people who are going to buy from the campaigns and boost our revenue even more. Okay, so there is the pop-up form. This is going to be a big lever for them to make more money pretty much tomorrow. Now let's talk a little bit about deliverability. So deliverability essentially is your reputation in the eyes of Google, Yahoo, inbox providers, and how often are we being sent to the main inbox. So what influences this is really just your email engagement. If you get good email engagement, Google will see that and be like, okay, this brand is a reputable sender, we can send this brand into the main inbox rather than spam. So we can take a brief look just at the deliverability tab right here inside of Klaviyo, and then we can get a score. So right now it's at 59 because click rates are low, open rates are low. It says good, but open rates, we want to be at above 50%. We really want to be above 50% because that tells Google that over half the people receiving this email are opening. And I've kind of noticed like a significant drop off if you're under where your inbox placements are. And then click rate, we're at 0.92%. We want that to be above 1%. Our bounce rates are really high, 1.23. We want that to be more at like 0.5%. Getting a higher spam complaint rate. I'm not concerned about unsubscribe rates as much, because that doesn't harm your deliverability. People need to unsubscribe and they'll naturally disengage from the list. And so this is kind of concerning is open rates and click rates, and then the bounce rate, a little bit of the spam rate. But really we can solve that just by tightening our email segments that we're sending campaigns to. So campaigns, we're getting 20% opens on some of these emails, and mainly like around 40%. We want to get it consistently above 50%. Okay, so I put some notes here on the low score where the opens, clicks, and bounces are. You can solve this just by sending campaigns and flows, but use tighter segments of 60-day openers. Anybody who's opened an email in the past 60 days, just use that as your base campaign list, and then exclude anybody who bounces your email. And that should solve a lot of the problems going on here, and over time, the inbox placement is going to rise. So there's a website right here called Glock Apps. Not sponsored with them, I don't know them, but it's a great way to check how often you're landing in the inbox. You can use this, you send like a test campaign and it sends to like different inboxes, and you can see how often you're landing in the spam folder. So that's something that we can do as well, but I'm going to hold off just for the sake of time. Okay, so there's deliverability. We want to use tighter segments. Now let's talk about campaigns and the strategy that we're using. Okay, so the main thing that I'm looking at is what content are they sending and how often. So I'm going to change this to last 90 days. And if we look here in September, there was a send on the 30th, and then 14th, there was a few emails, and then 13th, 5th. So we're kind of all over the place. We really don't like the consistency here. We want to be consistent with sending 3 emails a week rather than sending multiple a day on some days. You can see the decrease in engagement right here from doing that. You're just not sending the email list anything. They forget that you exist, and then you're sending them 3 emails in a day. That's a problem. Instead, what we want to do is we want to be consistent with 3 to 4 email campaigns per week. And they did the same thing here with this launch. You could see the engagement going down in terms of open rate here. It looks like they did some segmentation though. So that's like the main thing that's going wrong here and causing spikes in revenue rather than consistent revenue. So no consistency, big random sends causing spikes in revenue, and probably why you're getting like a lot more spam complaints than you want rather than if you send consistently. And you can see, since they are doing big events, like you're getting a lot of revenue on these campaigns, which I like to see, but it's just inconsistent. We'd rather it be consistent. And the main thing that sticks out with this campaign strategy is everything here is launch or sale or urgency based things. There's almost no value from what I'm seeing. I'm not clicking onto any of the emails because I'm keeping the non-disclosure agreement here. But everything is pretty much sale, urgency, and that's really harming their reputation with their email list. We want to send value instead. 3 emails a week giving value. Like, here's how to do this. Here are tips for this. Myths versus facts in the industry. We want to educate the customer on what ingredients are in our product, what material is in our product, how does it overcome all of their objections, and send emails like that rather than all the sales. So that's another big knock that I'm seeing. Okay, so put another note there. Too much sale, not engaging and building loyalty with the customer. We want to send value. We want to send them tips and tricks. We want to overcome objections. So that would be the big shift in the campaign strategy that we're using. Send consistently, send value. Yes, we continue to have main events, but majority we want to be sending value, and that'll help with our engagement and keeping these people actually subscribed on our email list. Okay, moving right along, we are going into a flows review. So let's review all the flows that they have. Okay, so we have the welcome, which we kind of touched on. Browse abandon for anybody who views a product and then leaves. We have a customer win back. So after somebody had purchased like a while ago, we're sending them some emails. We have a first purchase thank you. Looks like there's no thank you for multi-time purchasers, no VIP sort of thing. So that's something. We have an abandoned cart reminder. However, this is checkout started. So this is actually a checkout abandon flow, which is separate than cart abandoned. These are 2 different things. And so right now they don't have an abandoned cart flow. Most people abandon cart. In order for this flow to fire, people are actually having to physically go to the checkout page where you enter your email address, rather than people who just like click on the site, add something to their cart, which most people do. So ton of revenue being left on the table there. That's going to be a big thing. And then they have a review request flow. So I'm going to add a note that we are missing the cart abandon flow. I'm actually going to create a list here because we're missing the cart abandon flow. Something also is the site abandon flow, which is for anybody who goes to the website, but they don't actually view any products or click any products. They maybe look at a category section or something like that, but they don't actually click onto anything. There's no site abandon flow in here, which we do want to have as well, and that's probably going to pick up a lot of revenue. And then also, they only have a first purchase thank you. We're going to want a multiple time purchase thank you as well, because those are going to be the most profitable. These are the people who have bought from you multiple times before. We want to have like the same sort of flow, but also for people who have bought from us multiple times. So I just added that in there. So that's what we're missing. Now let's talk about improvements. So we already touched on the welcome flow. It's only 2 emails. Now that's not going to be enough to get a skeptical person to buy from you. We need to send them, people have decision cycles. They're shopping around, checking out different brands. And so we need to send them emails over like 2 weeks. That's a typical buying period that we like to do. So what that has us like end up doing is sending emails like every 2 days. And with those, that we have 8 to 12 emails over that 2 week period, 2 to 3 week period, and then you give people the opportunity to continue to use the discount that you're giving them for that first purchase. That's going to pick up a lot of extra revenue with these skeptical people who aren't buying yet. So that's the biggest thing. But also, if we look at the other flows, so we go to like checkout abandon again. 2 emails as well for checkout abandon, and then let's go to like the other abandonment they have. Let's see how many emails that they're sending here. And this one, it's only 1 email. So not a lot of emails are being sent. Typically for our cart abandon emails, same sort of deal. Customers, they need time to make decisions and they need to be reminded, and maybe they're shopping at other brands. We want to keep telling them, hey, you left this behind with us, buy from us. This is why you should buy from us. This is our shipping information, things like that. So typically we have 6 to 8 emails in that abandoned cart, abandoned checkout flow, and also browse abandon for people who view the products, which right now there's only 1 email. And so we really want to extend that, give people kind of 2 weeks to make a decision, and then we can leave them. So that's going to be a big thing. And something I'd also recommend is adding a discount at the end of the flows for those people who entered the flow, they were so close to buying, we've sent them multiple reminders, and then they haven't purchased. Let's send them a little discount. So I added those notes here. We really want to lengthen these flows. We'll talk about copy and design in the next module, but we really want to lengthen these. It's going to make a huge difference in just overcome objections one by one, rather than giving them just one reminder and trying to tell them everything. Okay, let's move into the win back in the first purchase. Thank you. So first purchase, thank you. I love having an immediate thank you message, picking up some extra sales here. I'm sure they could probably have a little bit more sales messaging here. Typically we want 1 to 2% placed order rates for people they just bought. Let's try to upsell them. And so that's something that we're missing in this email that I saw. And then also we have a subscription promo about 21 days. I like to add emails leading up to the order being delivered, talking about like, hey, this is how to get the most out of your product. Here's how to do this, yada, yada, yada. And so that you're educating the customer, you're improving their experience and making them feel cared for. So that's something that we want to improve with the post-purchase flow. Just added these to the post-purchase flow, adding the multi-time purchaser thank you, having a more aggressive, immediate thank you, trying to get an upsell because our placed order rates there were pretty low, add in some product education leading to shipping, and then get the customer excited for the order. So let's check this last one here. We have the customer win-back flow, which we're waiting 75 days. That works. It's actually a pretty good placed order rate, which I like to see for like a win-back email. That's good engagement. And then second one as well, 1.1% placed order. Why are we not sending more emails right here? With the win back flow, these are going well. Let's keep sending win back emails until the revenue rates really start to decline, because right now over 50% opens, 2% click rate, 1.1% placed order rate. This is awesome. We want to carry this out. Keep like some of the same messaging, but send multiple more emails. So what looks like what we have in the win back flow is good. We just need more of it. So just added that note here, and then we are good to go kind of like with these core flows. We need to add the cart abandon, then the site abandon, multi-time purchaser flow, lengthen these flows, add in more product education, add on to the win back flow. And then I think that really is like the blueprint for getting the flow revenue to over 40% rather than 22%. And then also just having a lot more people entering the welcome flow with our pop-up form is going to help a lot as well. Okay, so this is not the brand in question that I'm reviewing. This is a random brand that I found that is kind of similar in terms of copy and design. So I'm just going to review these. This is very similar to the one that I'm reviewing. Again, this is not the brand. I'm just going to break some of these down. So these are almost identical to the ones we're reviewing, so it should work. So the main thing that jumps out like with these email designs is we have a navigation bar at the top of these emails. So this actually hurts conversions. We want to have the navigation in the footer of the email. We want to put the buttons at the bottom rather than the top. When they're at the top, they distract the customer right when they open the email, and it just distracts from what you're trying to say, like revitalize your back with this whale stretching thing. Now, this is a good topic. I like it. It's educational, and we're talking about it, but you can see that all this is made inside of Klaviyo, which is going to have issues when you're pairing this with images. So for some devices that are on light mode, this background is going to be white. Same here, all of this stuff is going to be white, but for other devices, it's going to be black. For some devices, it's going to show up text this size, but it's going to change based on like what your zoom is on your device, on like your mobile. So this is why we prefer to only use image-based emails. This prevents all of these problems. As long as you have HTML in the footer, like they do here, then you are good sending images. So that's a big thing that I want to touch on. In the copy, you can tell it's ChatGPT. Imagine coming home to a sanctuary where your body, yada yada, meet the this, a beautifully crafted, like that's ChatGPT. This is all just like fluff. This is just a little bit too much copy. You can get away with this. I like having these icons and these images, breaking down everything. Like honestly, this is a good flow to the email. I just don't love the design. They have multiple buttons, which is good. I'd try to put this email a little bit higher. And so overall, like the email's okay. I would rather it be like photo based, remove this top section. But other than that, like these are pretty solid. The only thing is like after product sections, I noticed for both brands, we want to have a general shop now button. Because what if somebody's scrolling these, your best sellers, and you're looking at these products and you don't like any of them, but you're open to keep shopping and keep browsing the site. There's no option to do that. So we want to put a button right here that says, hey, you can keep shopping by clicking here. Everything's just quite blocky in these emails, just like plain backgrounds and whatnot. There's no flow to it. It's not like pretty. There's not like a ton of stuff like that can really like visually appeal you. So that's definitely a knock. There's a little bit too much copy, and you can tell it's very much ChatGPT. Now this is kind of like more what we like, where it's very visually engaging. You have big buttons, you have like these cool transitions and sections. This is probably more the style that we want to go for. This is what helps keep your list engaged over time, rather than have them fall off. If you have really basic designs, people will stop wanting to open your emails. This is giving you dopamine, and so people will continue to open. Okay, so I added these notes here, which you can look at, just kind of like summarizing everything. Like overall, not terrible, but it really can be taken an extra notch, especially with a brand this big. We want to make sure that our design and copy is very well branded, and we're engaging the customer so we can keep our engagement on our emails over time. So the highest leverage things, just overall recommendations for improvement, is we want to get a pop-up form ASAP. That's one of the main things. Campaigns, we want to have consistent volume, 3 to 4 times per week, focusing on education and engagement. And for flows, we want to add in remaining missing flows, as well as lengthen current flows and overcome objections. Copy and design, add more life into copy and design, and clean up some conversion rate optimization. So those are like the general highest leverage recommendations for improvement. As far as estimated improvements, so I've done over 100 email account audits. I've helped scale near 100 different e-commerce brand email marketing accounts. So looking at this and what we're missing, I can also go to the overall dashboard, how we're doing in terms of year to date. So we're a little bit up and down here. Looks like there was a big difference here in this month, but kind of generally around that 150K a month range, 175K, maybe having some months that are way below and some that are way above. And so just looking at what we've done the past 30 days, 134K, I can say with pretty much near guarantee that with the changes that I've discussed, and then if my team of experts was able to take care of this, I could guarantee that we would add $50,000 a month extra in recurring revenue. So that is kind of like the bar that I would set. Say we go 150K a month, we would take this to roughly 200K a month consistently. And that would be starting after a 60-day period. You need some time to like get all the flows and stuff dialed in. So that's kind of what I would predict right off the bat. And then this would be roughly 45% of rev coming from Klaviyo. Of course, I suck at spelling. And also the bonus of having my team take care of email completely for this brand is that everybody who's working on the email account right now, graphic designer, copywriter, the account manager overseeing, now they have a huge weight off their chest. They don't have to worry about email. They have a team of experts taking care of it for them, so they can focus on other areas of the business, like getting more traffic on like paid ads or doing SEO, fulfillment, all that sort of stuff. So if you want me to do this audit for you and kind of give you some estimations, then you can book a free consultation right here. It'll be much more in-depth than what we saw in this video. I kept it super brief, so it'll be more in-depth. Just wellcopy.net to book your audit. And I hope that that was helpful and it gave you some insights into the things that I'm looking for and what the highest leverage things are, what the actual difference these can make on your email account. I wish that when I was getting into email marketing that this sort of stuff was available. So that's my goal, making this stuff available to you so that you can learn. Join my newsletter, inboxnewsletter.com/subscribe for even more email tricks, tips, and hacks. Daily newsletter, tons of value that shouldn't be free. And yeah, lots of good stuff in this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.